There has never been a game I was more wrong about than the finals. Let me set the scene. It's 2023. I'm busy doing whatever I was doing at the time. Who knows? The finals releases and quite a few of my friends go to play it. I take a quick peek and oh, it's another FPS game. Yeah, I'm not falling for that again, buddy. I've fallen for this next big competitive game before. And as time went on, I heard less and less about the finals until recently. For the past few months, every few days in my chat, I'll have someone come in and ask me about the finals, which I thought was weird because I very rarely get asked about playing other games. And then to my surprise, I received an invite to try out the new season early. And while I was there, I was actually having fun. Wait, I'm not used to this. Have the past few months just been a psyop by Embark employees slowly planting messages in my stream to get me to like the game? Or could this possibly be just a good game making a solid turnaround? Well, I'm here to say that I have either one, fallen victim to yet another psyop, or two, the finals is genuinely one of the most underrated games on the market right now, and I'm here to explain to you the three main reasons why this game actually deserves your attention. Starting with the biggest reason, the finals doesn't try to be like every other game. It offers an actually unique experience that has left me stunned. There are so many things that this game does right that I'm honestly surprised haven't been ripped off by other gaming studios yet. Most of the largest gaming studios tend to either A, milk every last drop out of their waning franchise, or B, copy every little thing their competitors do right, making all their games feel exactly the same. I mean, I'm not gonna name any names, but you know, the finals has two game modes in particular that I can't stop thinking about. The first is Power Shift. Essentially, there's this huge floating platform that both teams want to stand on top of. If your team is on it, it will slowly move towards your enemy spawn. If the enemies control it, it will slowly move towards your spawn. It's actually that simple. And it doesn't just move in a straight line in a super boring fashion. On one map in particular, it'll literally break through a building's floor and start going upwards, destroying each floor one by one. And it just ends up leaving this huge epic hole in the building. The way these platforms move throughout the map allow for such a unique experience. You and your team will have to decide when and where to ambush the platform using what environment is left undestroyed. Because if you just run at the platform, it's pretty defender-sided, forcing you to actually work together and come up with unique plans to take over the platform. Which is weird because the defenders, the people trying to defend their spawn, actually become the attackers while trying to take back the platform. And the attackers who are trying to push into the enemy spawn are actually playing pure defense. It's such a cool dynamic that I've never seen in a game before. Usually in a game like Marvel Rivals, there's one team on defense and they're just literally AFK for half the game, waiting for the attackers to do something. But Power Shift has found a way to make the entire game exciting for both teams. The other mode I really like is Cash Out. This is another mode that turns a traditionally boring defense objective into a chaotic and highly engaging gameplay tool. Cash Out is this simple. There's 4 teams of 3. Each team is trying to grab this little node and place it in a cash out box. Once a node is placed in one of these boxes, every team is fighting to hold control of it, and whoever's controlling it when the timer ends keeps the entire reward. To take over the objective, you have to hold the interact button on the box for about 7 seconds. You can't move or really do anything while this is happening. And this mode is so freaking good, dude. The first time I played this, I was instantly hooked. It's another mode that I just can't believe hasn't been ripped off by other games. Now, it's technically a 3 versus 3 versus 3 versus 3, but when your team is holding the box, it's essentially a 3v9 or more like a 3 versus a 3v3v3, which is such an interesting dynamic because it forces you to not only work with your team, but also with your enemies, which is something I haven't seen before in a game like this. This game mode is by far the most intense of the two and my personal favorite. Now, the game modes are great, but I'm sure you've ran into the problem of your favorite game becoming stale. Maybe you're playing Anna and you've taken the same angle every game for 20 minutes in a row and you're just going through the motions. Or you're playing Rengar and you've done the same clear 1,000 times this season and you're still Platinum 4. Obviously, the game is going to become stale. Well, my second huge reason this game deserves your attention is that despite using the same few maps over and over, every match will play out drastically different due to its gorgeous destructive environment. And hey, I know a lot of you shudder at the thought of a game having a destructive environment, but hang on with me here. The finals actually does it really well. I can't believe how smoothly this game runs with how detailed the destruction is. I mean, you can literally see broken pipes and support beams sticking out of the walls and floors after an explosion. Part of what makes Cash Out and Power Shift so exciting for me is you never know where the enemy is going to come from. You could be holding an angle and then all of a sudden the wall behind you explodes, and while you're concussed, there's smoke in the air. 3 big dudes with machine guns storm in and light up the room with 1,000 rounds. So instead of having a rough idea of where enemies are going to come from and being able to plan what you're going to do, you're just in full paranoia mode, which is something other games have rarely given me. There's one match I remember very specifically during my first time playing where I was complaining about the enemy team camping on a rooftop, and my teammate went, "All right, well, let's just blow out their feet from under them." And when he said that, it kind of hit me and I was like, huh, that is such an obvious solution. But I'm so used to games where the map plays out very linearly, and I wouldn't have even thought to do that. So we started knocking holes in their floor, and eventually it was so destroyed it wasn't even holdable, and they were forced off the roof. Oftentimes in games, the layout of the map defines how you play. But in the finals, you can change the layout of the map to play the way you want or need to, which is so refreshing, you have no idea. Another thing I can't stress enough about how good this game is how well it handles character customization. You have so many different options on what you want to bring into battle with you. You also get to choose between 3 classes, light, medium, or heavy, and they're pretty self-explanatory. The light class is lightweight and low HP, with abilities that allow them to play a high-risk, high-reward playstyle. The heavy has a lot of HP, slow, and does a ton of damage. And the medium class is as you'd expect, a balance between the two. But you could have probably picked up on that without me having to explain it to you, which is yet another thing this game does so well. Everything is so simple and so easy to understand. Unlike other games that have steep learning curves and require you to learn sometimes hundreds or even thousands of abilities before you can even compete, the finals is so easy to pick up without losing the complexity that makes investing a lot of time into the game satisfying and worthwhile. For example, if you're playing Power Shift, you're going to need somebody to stand on a tiny platform that has a small army focusing it. So maybe you have 2 heavies bunker it down with shields and portable cover, while your light class players roam around the edges of the map and try to disrupt the enemies and shoot them in the back. Each scenario requires different tools, and you'll end up changing your loadout mid-game to better fit the scenario. Towards the end of matches, I like swapping to the medium's jump pad ability, because as the map slowly gets more and more destroyed, it becomes harder to traverse, so the jump pad comes in clutch. Stuff like this is what makes the finals so unique, because it makes the game feel like what you would have imagined a video game being as a kid. A lot of games nowadays feel super linear and they'll hold your hand through everything, but with the finals, you get to play how you want and interact with the environment in the way you want to. You're not really limited by artificial boundaries or engine limitations. A lot of times as games get further in its life cycle, maps will become figured out in a way which makes them super duper stale. Teams will learn all the best places to hold, all the best abilities to use on certain maps, but with the finals, each game becomes its own unique puzzle that you have to piece together in the moment with your team. And while that may sound a little daunting for new players, I promise you it shouldn't be. Everybody I've talked to and played this game with had no problem finding a playstyle that worked for them. If you're an experienced FPS player and you want to leverage that, you can pick the light class and try to use your smaller hitbox and superior movement to outgun your enemies. Or if you're a more tactical minded player, you can pick the heavy class and try to win with sheer mass and smart ability usage. Or you can pick the medium and try to find a happy middle ground. And that's just a few examples. Each class can create their own little subclasses to best fit the needs of the team. Season 6 just launched, and with it is something that I am super excited to see. The finals is having their first major tournament with a $100,000 prize pool, and I can't wait to watch this live, because if my matches are this intense, I can't imagine how it's going to be to watch the best players in the world duke it out. This game is perfectly set up to have a thriving esports scene, and I'm glad they're finally bringing it to life. Embark also talked about how they wanted to incorporate the tournament players into the actual game as well, which is something I think is super promising, because if you don't know the lore of this game, essentially the competitors are normal people playing in VR, like a game show kinda. So it's super easy to slot in real world players and brands, which I think has a lot of potential. Usually stuff like this in media is kind of cringe or corny, but the finals actually does it really well. The new season is also bringing with it 3 new weapons, all of which have the potential to redefine their respective classes. Team Deathmatch is also coming back, so if you don't like the objective-based modes and just want to turn your brain off, now you can. Quite a few map updates are coming as well, and more maps are coming to Power Shift, which is huge, because the way that that mode affects the maps is amazing, like I said. So if you're new to the finals or want to get back into it, now is the perfect time, because it's undergone pretty significant changes since release, and much more exciting content is around the corner. So if you're interested in playing the game, you can use my link in the description or pinned comment to get started. It's completely free to download, so don't be worried about that. Now, I know people will take my words in this video with a grain of salt because they're sponsoring me, but everything I've laid out in this video is very genuine. It's a great game, and the more research I've done, the more I'm confused by why more people aren't giving it a chance. I've been playing it with my friends the last few weeks, and it's been some of the most fun I've had playing something other than Apex, so give it a try if it seems interesting. All right, thank you so much for watching. If you have any hot takes or opinions on the finals, let me know in the comments. I love to read some of them, and yeah, peace.